It's the Slam Dunk.
Benjamin Doyle, he couldn't muster the support of one of his MPs to stand beside him and stand with him as he spoke this week. The leadership was missing, the co-leadership was missing, nowhere to be seen, having earlier walked under a bus on this one, both of them. And the whips, the senior MPs usually present for this sort of appearance, they weren't there. Other MPs were also absent. This wasn't and isn't the Green way. They usually stand together on these issues of principle, but they were all no-shows, far too busy sitting in their offices, leaving Boyle to face the music alone. Well, not quite alone. Doyle had mustered some supporters from his queer community. Why? Why was he without parliamentary support? Because he'd ignored their advice months ago to delete the offensive post.
I was advised when I was a candidate, which was a fair while back, and I actually can't recall, it was leadership from the Green Party.
And how did that conversation go?
The advice I received was that coming into public office, I would probably face homophobia and queerphobia based on my identity, and that for the interests of my well-being, I might like to take it down to avoid nasty comments.
Yep, the Greens had told him before he was even on the list, and well before he arrived at Parliament, that he should get rid of the Bussy Boy post. He had his child in that post, you remember the one, because basically they said get rid of it because he would receive a whole pile of homophobic hate. But Doyle thought, no, wait, this is me, this is who I am, I'll write it out the best I know. But perhaps worse than that, the Greens then put him on the list, despite him refusing to take their advice. Stupid, naive, total misjudgment. Why did they go ahead with him? And why did the Greens leadership make such a staunch defence of him 10 days ago, knowing that he'd ignored their advice? No wonder the Green co-leaders were missing in action. The party systems looked weak, even after they told him to ditch it. To ditch this offensive material for his own good, but not only did he refuse to do that, he continued, and they continued to put him on the list.
The Green Party said that I would face homophobia, I would face hate. We didn't predict that I would face this level of violent conspiracy-fueled threats to my life.
But Doyle wasn't ditching what was so important doing to him. He wasn't going to ditch this. Not when you're proudly queer, not when it's his problem. It's our problem for not understanding queer issues.
I came to Parliament with the backing of people to be my authentic self and to represent the communities that I come from. I have been supported the whole way through this by people who know me and care for me to not relent on being unapologetic on the things that matter. I am not going to be disappeared from public life, and queer people should not have to minimise ourselves.
It's hard to feel some sympathy or to feel sorry for him. There's no excuse for death threats, and people who make death threats are meatheads. But Doyle has clearly decided that his Green platform is there for him to stand up for his queer issues and who he is. No matter what his leadership thinks, no matter what level of hate he gets, this is who he is. It would be tidier for the Greens if he disappeared, but there's no chance of that now.
This is really important, this fight that we're having right now. If I were to step down and to move away from this space, our community would lose a voice, and we don't have much representation in here, especially non-binary takatapui people. I have the backing of my community, I have the backing of my whānau, their confidence. People have reached out and supported me and said that they will wrap around me, and I am here to fight for the things that matter to us and our community.
But seriously, Doyle was told what to do, and he chose to ignore it. Of course, the Greens then put him on the list still. Now he's been left to face the music. He's also become the parliamentary face of all things queer, I guess. He's blaming everybody else for their lack of understanding. All our fault. That's a red herring. Doyle ignored the best advice. You make your bed, you lie in it. This is on Benjamin Doyle and the Greens, who allowed him on the list. No, it's no one else's issue. And he's decided to confront it head on. It leaves the Green Party seemingly powerless to control him now, that they can do nothing but back him and understand him and hope it doesn't damage them in the polls. They can't sack him for being queer, gay. They allowed him onto the list. So like Doyle, the Greens have made their bed too. Now they, too, have to line it.
Editor-in-Chief with Duncan Garner.